All right, I came across Colin Hurd's video on YouTube saying that Matthew Stafford was responsible for the loss to the Green Bay Packers last night. So let's talk about how much responsibility does Matthew Stafford take for the loss to Green Bay, and also let's talk about the running game as well. We back, Mercy Sports Talk, we in the building. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, share the videos, and it was a few people in the comment section. I went through the comment section for the reaction video last night that blamed Matthew Stafford, and obviously when you're the quarterback, you get the grunt of the blame and the grunt of the credit. Okay, really, just to look at it yesterday, he played mistake-free football. If you look at the numbers, he didn't score a touchdown. His QBR wasn't that good. He missed a couple throws, but, Aaron Rodgers made a great throw down the sideline, which it should have never been due to the penalties, but I'm going to leave that out of here. But kind of leads me to talk about what I said in the beginning. I believe that the Lions ruined Matthew Stafford, okay, with bad coaching, bad personnel, and I believe they need a new quarterback, okay. People could say, he's been playing good, he's been playing great, look at his numbers and all that situation. And that's true. His numbers is good, but if you watch the game, it's a lot of critical throws that he made. He made a lot of great throws. You know what I'm saying? Last night, they didn't get in the end zone. I will explain that in a second. But once they got in there once. But, he just don't seem to win the game for you. Last night, he didn't lose the game for you, but he didn't win the game for you. He didn't make those transcendent throws, those throws that you need to make, or those plays that you need to make. And at the end of the day, like I said before, I think it's good for Matthew Stafford to move on. 10 years as a quarterback, 11 years, going 11 seasons as a quarterback, and in no profession that I've been a part of is known to me that you can be subpar, you can be below average, you can be have a sorry record versus winning teams, and still be allowed to go on for 5, 6, 7, 10, or 11 years. You change everything around them. You want to blame Mayhew, you want to blame LeWine, you want to blame Millen for the bad drafts before he got here. You want to blame the Fords, whoever you want to blame, okay? There's been, Stafford is just not winning the game. And he might be the right guy in Kansas City. He might be the right guy in Houston. He might be the right guy in L.A. He might be the right guy in Boston. He might be the right guy in New York, Jacksonville, Miami. But where the Detroit Lions are and where he is at this point in his career is that he's not the right guy for the Lions no more. And I've been saying it. People say, how can you blame Matthew Stafford or this and that? I'm not blaming Stafford, but he did not win the game. He did not lose the game, but he did not go out there and make the throws that you need to make. He didn't go out there and make the great throws, but whatever it's been, the Lions have not been able to consistently go to the red zone and score touchdowns. Ever since Berry left, they haven't been able to go down there and score 7. May it be with John Kitna, may have been with Orlovsky, Mike McMahon, Drew Stanton, Joey Harrington, go back to that point. May have been with Sean Hill when he played in spots and stuff of that nature. Whoever was here before Matthew Stafford, may have been Marks, may have been Linehan, may have been Lombardi, may have been Cooter, may have been Darrell Bevel. The team hasn't been able to score those touchdowns. Now, one of the things that I do notice is that they don't have a burner. When they get those breakaway the throws, like he got to Galladay and he got one to Hall, they just don't have guys that can really separate, like a Deshaun Jackson, like a Nelson Aguilar when he do catch the ball. Guys that can take the top off the defense and really, erase angles and take that speed away. I think that's one of the Lions' shortcomings in their offense is they don't have a game breaker nowhere. Ty Johnson, we don't know what he really can do because the blocking hasn't been good, with the running game. Jones, he can run a little bit, and Galladay can run a little bit, but they're not Jackson breakaway. Even a guy like Mike Evans, who really put fear in the defense, they don't really have a deep threat receiver that you have to fear like a Tyreek Hill that you got to roll coverage to, or you got to make sure you have a safety in the back to really pay attention to. And I think that's also hurting the offense as well. But like I said, I'm not blaming Matthew Stafford for the loss, which people going to say, oh, he's blaming. But he didn't win the game. He didn't go out there and do what Russell Wilson been doing the last couple of years in Seattle. They win because of Russell Wilson, not because he don't make mistakes and everything go around him or just go around him right, like people think it was when they had the Legion of Boom. Patrick Mahomes. If he don't go out there and win the game, the Kansas City Chiefs don't win. Same thing with Deshaun Watson. If he don't go out there and be exceptional, the Houston Texans don't win. You know what I'm saying? Matthew Stafford is not in that realm of quarterback. He's a very good guy, but, people look at the numbers. The numbers in the actual game is two different things. You know what I'm saying? It's two different things. Because you can have great numbers, but guess what? You might have missed 2 or 3 throws that would have iced the game. Or that would have broke the game open. So, they had some drops last night. Hockenson dropped it in the end zone, and Jones dropped the ball. He did have some drops, but I'm not blaming him for the loss. I'm just saying that, to me, the way this season is going right now, it proved what I said to be true in the beginning of the season. They need to change their quarterback. They need somebody that's more with the flow of where the league is going to. The Wilson, the Mahomes, the Lamar Jackson, the Deshaun Watson. And I think they need that quarterback more than any other team out there. Okay? And I'll explain that in a second. But Matthew Stafford didn't go out there and win that game. And Stafford is known for coming up short in these type of games. Yes, he looked good the last 2 years versus Green Bay, but nothing was really on the line. But when something on the line, the division lead is on the line, or when it's time to go out there and do what he need to do, it just don't get done. But I don't blame the red zone woes strictly on Matthew Stafford. I don't. And I'll get to that in a second. I don't blame him for the red zone woes. The red zone woes was before we got here, but he ain't transcending. You know what I'm saying? And we need the quarterback. We need the quarterback of today and not of tomorrow. Of today and not of yesterday. And Matthew Stafford, Matt Ryan are quarterbacks of yesterday. And I'm not saying those quarterbacks don't work no more. I'm just saying we need a quarterback that can enhance our running game. But I don't blame him for the loss. Obviously, Colin Hurd blaming the loss. And the narrative is this. In these type of games, Matthew Stafford come up short. You can say he threw for 500 yards, 8 touchdowns, no interceptions in the game. But if they lose, it falls on his shoulders. You get down there, you need to score touchdowns. You get down there, you got to score some touchdowns. Just point blank, period. But to look at it, it's not a coaching thing. Because due to several different coordinators, he's just not the guy for this team right now. The Lions need a transcendent quarterback. I don't know where you get that guy from. You know what I'm saying? But I don't agree that the loss was solely on him, but he has some responsibility in it. He do. He got to throw touchdowns. But to talk about the touchdowns, it's hard to throw touchdowns when you don't have to respect the run game. It's hard to throw touchdowns, you know what I'm saying, when I ain't got to fear your run. We could just drop, 7 in the, or we could just drop, the back end in the coverage, and we could just rush to 4. You know what I'm saying? If you can't run the ball in between the tackles and go north and south, you know what I'm saying? Inside the 20, inside the 10, you're not going to have success. The lack of running game has hurt Matthew Stafford. It's hurt the Lions. This is why Lions don't have success. This is why they can't punch it in. Because you play action down there, who really biting on the play action? Now, is it Kerryon Johnson? That's not a good running back. Was he a one-hit wonder? Or is it your 47th ranked right tackle? Is it your 27th or 30th ranked left tackle? Or is it your, 30-something or 40-something ranked left guard in Joe Dell? That's the question. Because the running game is not Matthew Stafford's responsibility. As far as, he hand the ball off. He audible. He might flip the play. He might do a few things. But the inability to run the ball is why the Lions have, failed in the red zone. Is why Jason Hanson got all those points. Is why Matt Prater kicked 5 field goals last night. And that's the number one job of a coach coming into Detroit. To be known. And when they switched over from Jim Caldwell, my whole issue was you brought a defensive coach in. The defense wasn't the problem. The offense has been the problem. Getting the running game going. They hired the offensive running game specialist. They hired, they hired a running game coordinator or a new offensive line coach. Now they got a new offensive coordinator who was known for running the ball with 2 of the greatest running backs of this era or last era in Adrian Peterson and Marshawn Lynch. And you get to Detroit and he can't run the ball. Insert Bob Quinn's name here. Mr. I don't speak in the media, which he need to speak out on them officials, and he not doing his job. But he not speaking to the media, right? But it's his problem because he brought TJ Lang in. He didn't work. He brought Rick Wagner in. It didn't work. He drafted Taylor Decker. It didn't work. Joe Guile and Wiggins is his guys. It didn't work. We all knew while you drafting Savai, who's a part-time player, and I think he's going to be a really, really good player. You know what I'm saying? Why you drafting a tight end like TJ Hawkinson, which I think would be a really, really good player? Well, you had needs at left tackle. You had needs at left guard. You had a need at right tackle that we all knew it was a need there. Rick Wagner's been one of the worst free agent acquisitions I can remember. Taylor Decker was good his rookie year. After the shoulder injury, he wasn't good. So the entire offensive line, other than Graham Glasgow, was ready to come to this week as the third best guard, and Frank Ragnar rated as the number 1 center in the league. Other than them two, the whole offensive line has been a sham. You look at the Packers. They was one of the worst teams against the runs versus the Cowboys. Kerryon Johnson couldn't get nothing but a yard into the fourth quarter. And at the end of the day, people say, well, if they can't run the ball, that's not Matthew Stafford's fault. You're right. But at the end of the day, you only can play with the hand you've been given with. You playing space, you got a shitty hand, you got to make it work. Playing Uno, got a shitty hand, you got to make it work. If God puts you in a position to start off life with no parents and it's a great story. Even better story. You know what I'm saying? It may not be the best situation, but it builds character. But if you've been doing something for 10 straight years, 11 straight years, and it don't work out, name me a profession where you continue to get rewarded for failure. No matter what your circumstance is. I've been in, situations where it's built for people to management positions, built to lose. But if I have one bad year, if I have 90 days of bullshit and I don't show promise, I'm getting fired. That's my thing about it. It's 11 straight years of failure, of no promise, no playoff victory. He got all these yards and records. And I said it's not solely on his fault. And people want to say, I'm a hater and I listen to what I'm saying. It's not his fault. The organization has ruined Matthew Stafford's reputation, has ruined him as a football player. You say, well, why did he take the money, CJ? Who not taking that type of money? It's football. They can franchise tag you. You go out there injured, they don't owe you nothing. Contract's not the same as NBA. Or if you're an individual player like tennis or golf or something like this. It's not the same. And that's why I say it's at the point where the Lions need a Lamar Jackson, a Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, a guy that can enhance the run game where their legs are a threat, and it makes a Mark Ingram better. It makes a Kareem Hunt better back in the day. It makes, Carlos Hyde, Duke Johnson, and Lamar Miller better. You need a guy that has the threat of mobility to really enhance his run game. And the run game is the number one problem with the Lions. They had top defenses with Terrell Austin. You know what I'm saying? They had great pass rushers. They had rushers that came from nowhere and got 10 sacks and 7 sacks here. And they had great success with special teams with, a number of different kick returners and great kick and great place kickers we had in Detroit. But the one place we've never been consistent at is in the run game. So any person or any coach that comes to the Detroit Lions, any general manager that comes with the Detroit Lions, the number one issue with the Lions is not defense. The real curse is the curse of Barry Sanders. The curse of finding a running game since Barry left. I know James Stewart had a 1,000-yard year and Reggie Bush had a 1,000-yard year. But if you remember that Reggie Bush year and that Joy Boyle year, they got off to a hot start. It looked like the running game was on point. But then at the end of the year, they both start fumbling. Fumble. And when you watch a Lions game, you just sitting on your edge of your seat. They can go up 40-0 in the first quarter. And you just waiting for it to go wrong. Tell me I'm lying. Last night I'm watching the game. I was thinking, like, somehow they going to fuck us. We go down there 3 times. We don't get a touchdown. I said, you know what? Or we get 1 touchdown, 3. I said, they going to fuck us. You just ready as a Lions fan, like, man, how are we going to lose this game tonight? You know what I'm saying? And like I said before, people can point to the numbers all they want to. Numbers look good, but look at the performances. Look at the shots that matter. Look at the passes that matter, excuse me. And the whole running game thing is really, I just think it's really a curse. You know what I'm saying? And they just need, they need to revamp. That should be the number one criteria. And I heard Trent Williams should be traded to the Cleveland Browns pretty soon here. I don't know what they gave up for him. And also they traded their center to the Rams, and Marcus Peters got traded to the Ravens. We don't want him there, trust me. Even though he's a good man coverage corner. He fit what we do, but this is the curse of Barry Sanders. You know what I'm saying? It is, because the running game is just like, if they can run the ball, Matthew Stafford would probably be, efficient. He probably would have threw for 3 or 4 touchdowns yesterday. But when you running the ball, you ain't even getting past or barely getting past the line of scrimmage. What can you say? You blame Kerryon, you blame Anderson, you blame Blunt, you blame Jones, Kevin Smith, Javid Best. I mean, you can go on and on with running backs. Amir Abdullah, Zach Zenner. You know what I'm saying? You can just go on and on. Joy Bill, Reggie Bush. On and on with running backs that play here. That you really just it's just a curse. And that's the number one thing Bob Quinn got to do next year, is he got to get an offensive line. And if they get a line and they still can't run the ball, I just don't know what to say. I really can't explain it. In that one year, they should have drafted a running back with Alvin Kamara, Kareem Hunt. With Christian McCaffrey, was Fournette in that draft, and a lot of great running backs in that draft, man, and they just failed to do so. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Motor City Sports Talk. I know a lot of people are going to you blaming Matthew Stafford, but they're not going to hear me, though. They just going to judge. But hey, man, make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Reach out to the email. If you have a business question, inquiry, sponsorship, video request, all the links in the description. You want to make a donation to the channel, that link's in the description as well, too. Best way to donate is share the video. I will be going live and doing the Viking and